order the October 6, 2025 meeting of the Beacon City School District Board of Education. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Anne Marie, can you call the roll?
Sure. Ms. Buscemi?
Here.
Ms. Urson?
Here.
Mr. Ruane?
Here.
Ms. McNair?
Here.
Mr. Shetter?
Here.
Ms. Hewer?
Here.
Ms. Scott?
Here. Matt, can you review the fire exits?
Exits are in the back of the LGI.
Thank you very much. Okay, next up is open to the public. Does anyone have a public comment that they would like to make? Seeing none, we'll move on to the workshop. We are starting tonight with our audit report with Brian Sama from EFPR. I hope I said your last name right. Yes, you did. Perfect.
Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My name is Brian Sama. I was the director on the audit for the Beacon City School District for the year ended June 30th, 2025. And I just have a very brief presentation to go over. The first slide here, I just want to talk about our audit approach. We started by performing a risk assessment or a detailed risk assessment where we obtain an understanding of the district and their internal controls. From there, we identify key areas or significant audit areas, and we'll develop audit programs that are compiled of tests that we perform to substantiate the numbers that are encompassed in the financial statements. With those tests having been performed, very high level, we do expect to issue unmodified opinions on your basic financial statements, your federal grant and compliance audit, otherwise known as your single audit, over your federal funding, and then your extra classroom activity funds. All of the records and information were freely available for our inspection. Management was extremely helpful in getting us any information that we asked for, and everything was timely submitted to us as part of our audit too. The results of our audit did disclose one instance of noncompliance or other matter that is required to be reported under government audit standards. This is known as finding 2025-001. It's for your New York State real property tax law, and it's for your unassigned fund balance being in excess of the 4% state limit that the New York State establishes. Otherwise, there were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in internal control over financial reporting that were detected as a result of our auditing procedures. We also had no material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or non-compliance findings over the federal program that we tested, which was your special education cluster. That consists of two programs, which are special education grants to states and special education preschool grants. And that is the end of my slideshow. So upon recommendation of approval, we would be able to issue these financial statements in their final format by the October 15th deadline.
Great. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I always feel like, I just want to say that, what is our actual percentage over of unappropriated fund balance?
Yep, so you are at 5.28%.
5.28, and I just always want to say that the New York State School Boards Association advocates for that number to be raised, and so I feel very comfortable with that number.
Yeah. We certainly
Right,
aren't on the
because
high end.
a large number of districts have numbers higher
Much higher, yeah.
than that.
Yes, correct.
All right.
Anything-
I also just want to say for the public that we reviewed this in the Audit Finance Committee of the board prior to the meeting, where we went into greater detail and, had a conversation around the audit as well. This part is for the board as a whole. But I'm appreciative of everyone's efforts regarding the audit this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. And thank you for making it so, breaking it down so well and making it so easy to understand.
Thank you.
That's very appreciated. Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I can say that.
Okay. Next up, we have our presentation on pupil personnel services and the plan update for that with Dr. Chadwell Dennis.
So, welcome. My name is Heather Chadwell Dennis. I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Pupil Personnel Services. So, welcome to the board, Dr. Landau, and the student reps who are being seated at the moment. There's one over here, too.
Yeah, there's a couple
Come on over here.
there.
Yeah, come over here.
Balance it out.
Just one of you. Come on over here. That's okay. It's all right. It's all good. Joined with us today is Christina Bartley, who is CSE for secondary, Leah Raftis, elementary and preschool. So I'd like to welcome the team here as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about the strategic planning, and there'll be an opportunity for questions at the end. I'm going to show you a little bit of what it looks like inside the classrooms in our schools. So our first focus area is academic excellence. And this is an example of integrated co-teaching. These are two of our teachers, Miss Sims and Miss LePere. This is an integrated English language arts grade 6. So as you can see, there's two teachers in that room with a number of students. And as we go through, you'll see a series of pictures of different places that classrooms are integrated across the district. So when we look at teacher assignments and who would be paired together, each teacher receives a form to fill out where we look at making strategic partners for the following year based on their certifications, based on their strengths, based on who they've worked with in the past. So they would indicate on this form where they have taught previously, where they feel most comfortable teaching, what curriculum they understand the best. And then we look at what their preferred grade level or content area for instruction is, their preferred co-teaching partnerships, and a general education teacher that they feel that they partner well with. We also ask them to project for one that might be a good co-teaching partner in the future. So as we look at additional training, to include someone who might not be currently co-teaching, but who might be a good candidate for the future. And one of the things we've really focused in at Rombout is if the special education teacher is dual certified, so if they're special education and math, or special education and social studies, moving them to that space so that they are teaching in a content that they feel strong in. And we've made that move over the last 4 years. So one of the contracts that we brought to you and was approved was GNR Inclusive Group. So starting in the middle with Rombout, we did a pilot there last year with the 6th grade group. And if you could see in the 24-25 list of teachers, those are the teachers that received that professional development last year. When planning for 25-26 at Rombout, the feedback we received predominantly on the general education side was while we were adding more to the professional development, which is coaching, they come in and provide direct coach right into the classroom. We also provide open office hours for the 6th grade teachers who have already received that professional development to receive additional support, maybe on differentiated lessons. So that's more fluid, but they come once a month. It's either virtual or in person and spend time in these classrooms and then meet with the teachers. This year, we've also expanded it to South Avenue, and you can see the teachers on the left-hand side, both at general education and special education. And then on the right-hand side, Glenham being our largest population of students with disabilities in that building. So you can see the names of the teachers that are currently receiving that support. Here's another example of what integrated co-teaching looks like at Rombout. So you can see it's an integrated science grade 8 on the left, and you can see there are 2 teachers in the classroom there. And then on the right, also science, this is grade 6. You can see that there are 2 teachers there. And often you'll see them breaking out into smaller groups when you're in the environment, or providing a whole group instruction and then breaking the students out based on the additional support that each needs. it's an entirety. It's not that one teacher is working with one set of students and another teacher is working with another set of students. They're fluid in the space. So at the beginning of the year, we sent out a survey about integrated co-teaching just to get feedback about what professional development they might need throughout the year and the next coming years. And we had a large number returned. We had 30 elementary surveys returned, 15 from Rombout, and 30 from Beacon High School. It went to all the integrated co-teaching pairs. And there were 5 different sections that we asked for feedback on. One of them was co-teaching knowledge and professional development. So here's another example from 2 teachers in integrated English language arts grade 3. You can see there's 2 teachers in there. That's at Glenham Elementary School. And again, on the right, you only see Jen Scuderi in that picture, but Jamie is also outside the picture, and that's grade 4 at Glenham Elementary School. So in this case, they're doing a station work where that's a model of co-teaching where the students are moving between different short, quick spurts of learning, and they're going to move in like a rotation at these small stations. So we asked for feedback on understanding the different co-teaching models, feeling confident about implementing the strategies in the classroom, and there are a number of different strategies, and then having received adequate professional development and differentiated instruction. So what we asked was, what additional professional development or support would help you be more effective in this setting? And what we received back was they would like additional support in how to use their collaboration time more effectively, how to use the resources in diverse ways, and more instruction on those models of co-teaching with the different ways of developing it. So we asked them about collaboration and communication. So this is between the partners. On the left is a picture of an integrated English class, grade 10. You can see there's 2 teachers there. And also integrated English language arts, grade 9, here at the high school. And you can see that there are 2 teachers there as well. In the one on the left, the teacher is providing the direct instruction, and the woman who's just standing out on the outside of that picture is providing the clarification. So in this area, we asked about the co-planning time. Do they have regular co-planning time together? They understand the different responsibilities during the instructional period, and they effectively and respectfully communicate about student needs, instruction, and classroom management. And here are all the things that they said help improve that collaboration with their co-teacher. So I'm just going to briefly go through them. They felt that open and ongoing communication was very helpful, shared planning time and the same resources, establishing relationships and experience that lasted over a period of time, flexibility and willingness to modify the curriculum, supports and positive environments, group structures and the physical setup of the room. So each of the pairs have received feedback on the way the actual physical room is set up to have students move easily through the space. Collaborative teaching strategies, clearly defined roles and flexibility and mutual respect, and then technology and long-term pairing. So we asked them about instruction and the impact on student growth. You'll see on the left, we have an integrated English grade 9 at the high school. There's 2 teachers there. And then an integrated English grade 1. In this, with Shannon and Dawn, I was sitting on the floor in this lesson, which is always fun because I am not familiar to them. So the children are always like right on top of me, wanting to know who I am. So that was a fun lesson with them. And what they said, what we asked them was, has co-teaching positively impacted the student learning in the classroom? The co-teaching model allows effective differentiation for diverse learners, and feeling that the co-teaching model supports inclusion and access for students with disabilities, and by proxy, all students in that learning environment. Here, we asked them about successes and challenges. There were a number of successes: that the environment is inclusive, it's differentiated, and they see students grow in a variety of ways. They're able to collaborate with a peer and share the experience together. There's flexibility in planning, and they can make adjustments. There's inclusive materials for all students in the learning environment. Often the teachers have built a relationship and rely heavily on each other for that collaboration. The small group instruction they feel is very effective. It's not always small group, but there's opportunities for it. That the strategies benefit all students. Students can get one-on-one support if they need that additional support. It's an enhancement for the engagement in the curriculum, and it supports the classroom management. So some of the challenges that they identified, there are implementation barriers at times for a variety of reasons. Could be scheduling. It could be the co-teaching pair. One might have more experience than the other. Two teachers might have different classroom management and teaching styles, which is why we go back to that first slide where we get that information to start. So we limit that challenge. And sometimes students prefer one teacher over the other. That's just, the reality of having two teachers. And at times the teachers are absent. So we're working on that challenge as well. So this is an exciting picture. I had a whole lot of these pictures. I just picked two. Last year or the year before, I had talked about working with School to Work. We switched to Duchess Bosse's because we were working at providing School to Work in our local community as opposed to maybe going out to Fishkill or to Wappingers. So here are two examples. The student on the left is at Care for Me Daycare in Beacon, and the student on the right is working at Howland Library. This is during the day. This is their School to Work experience. There are many others. These are just two examples. And what's really fun is we have found that over breaks, the students are still requested to come to these locations, which is really just a really neat thing to see. So they are often volunteering or working in these spaces even when school is not in session. So section 4, we really looked at scheduling and support. We looked for feedback on the current schedule, allowing adequate time for flexibility in co-teaching, and that feedback on were they appropriately matched with their co-teacher on the skills and student needs. So here are some feedback they gave us to improve. Common planning time. While some teachers have common planning time, they don't always have common planning time. So working on that. Feedback on full-time co-teaching assignments. Having a split model where they go back and forth sometimes is a barrier. Teachers remaining within their subject certification. So that's what I had mentioned earlier, that if they're dual certified in an area, moving them toward that area so that they feel prepared in that curriculum, and then reduce class sizes and additional classroom supports. So the last section was reflection and growth. On the left, we have two teachers at the high school, and this is an integrated financial math class. And on the right, this is South Avenue. It's an integrated 4th grade class. At South Ave. So we asked them for reflection on their personal growth. I'm growing professionally as a result of participating in co-teaching, and I received meaningful feedback on the co-teaching practices from leaders or peers. So again, what supports or changes would help you improve this? They indicated their co-teaching assignments, having them be consistent is a real strength. The dedicated common planning time so they can spend time really deeply diving into the lessons, ongoing professional development, and then access to differentiated materials. So the next section we looked at was creating a welcome and inclusive environment. The occupational therapists are working on a project this year to create a space where physical modifications like alternative seating, standing desk, fidget tools, noise canceling headphones, or quiet corners are more accessible in the general education classroom. So they don't leave the classroom for these things. So again, those numbers there indicate that, like, for example, alternative seating present, 50 teachers responded that yes, in their classroom, there is alternative seating present. There were some buildings that have 100%, like they had it all the different seating arrangements. And so the goal for this project is to provide more of this identified by the teachers so that we can expand it. So this is something that we worked on, I think, 4 years ago, but I think it's a good example of creating an inclusive environment on the playground. So this is at JVF. On the right-hand side, you can see there's a picture board and there's icons. Those match the students' communication boards. So students who are non-speaking, that's their classroom on the right-hand side. Each building has that board. That board on the left, you can see JVF has 2 boards, goes out on the playground. So you can see there's like balls and stuff behind there. That's all going out on the playground when the kids go out. The communication board stays in the classroom, and they also have their own communication devices. But it's a way for them to express their wants and needs in a non-structured setting where they might not have their device in their hand. They can go right over to the board and touch what they need. And you would see that in all the other schools as well. The same boards. On the left are 2 occupational therapists. This is at Glenham. They're creating a sensory space in the hallway. So if a student needs a break from the classroom, rather than just walking, they would go out to this and the teacher might say, or the aide might say, touch 4-2, 2-6, 1-10. So they're creating spaces like this all around the building to give students something to focus on when they're taking a break so they can de-escalate. And on the right, it's really hard to see, but there's a student standing in a body sock. It's stretched way over their head like this. It's a resistant body sock in a quiet space with low lighting. So again, they can regulate their sensory system. On the left is an example of a quiet space in a classroom where the student just takes a break. You can see there's noise canceling headphones on there. There's a sensory bin for fidgets. There's bubbles. That's an integrated classroom. And it's an integrated classroom on the right as well, where there's a sensory wall. So the occupational therapists and teachers have built these right in the classroom. So there's no need to leave unless the student feels they need a larger break. So these are related service providers, so occupational therapy, physical therapy, vision services, orientation and mobility, speech, counseling, where we're moving into the learning environment as opposed to taking the students out. So you can see that there's an occupational therapist on the left that's working with a group of students. It looks like I'm patterning inside the classroom, so that's not a therapy room, that's inside the classroom. And on the right side, a speech pathologist at Sargent, also the same, doing a full group intervention as opposed to pulling them out of their learning environment. So they're not moving away from the general education curriculum. On the left, this is an inclusive physical education. So students who need a higher level of accommodations, there are 2 physical education teachers in this class. And students are interacting in the larger PE setting as opposed to having their own small gym class or PE class. They're in the larger setting together. And then on the right, this is our occupational therapist and speech pathologist working together as a push-in to one of the classrooms at Sargent. So doing a co-treat model to, again, limit the number of times a student is being taken out. These 2 pictures are really cool. I mean, I think they're all cool, but the left is the integrated preschool. So we're the only one in Dutchess County that has an integrated preschool. Those are the students. So it's called a SKIZ class. It's a special class in an integrated setting. They're all 4-year-olds, and they're at music class. And this is really awesome because these students will naturally come into our kindergarten. They won't be at another location before entering with us. And on the right, these students are in an integrated music class at Glenham. So some of those students are in a special class 12-1-1. They leave the 12-1-1 and go with their same age peers to this music class with another class. So again, really exciting. They're integrated into the general education curriculum as much as we can. And you can see in the back, there's some aides that are kind of moving their hands along with the students. Here's a quiet space at Sargent, another space that students can go. And again, on the right, here's a PE class at Glenham. Student is in a special class with other peers, and they are going out to this PE class. There's a special education teacher, 2 PE teachers, and you can see one of the PE teachers is with a student holding like a radio or something as they're walking down the hill together. So it's an integrated PE class. Culture of care. So Mr. Solchich will talk more about this. We just started it this year. Again, thank you for the support. We have an Astor Clinic now at Rombout. Vanessa is the LMSW that is providing support. So what we found was the Astor Clinic here in the community only had 5 students that were able to access it during the day, and that is underrepresented. So we now have an Astor Clinic. They will provide services on breaks too. So during any of the time are closed, including the summer, they'll provide that support. They also give us a link to psychiatric services for students, and they also give us a link to family therapy right inside Rombout, which is very exciting.
Do we have any sense of how many students are accessing it now that it's in the school?
One right now. Yeah, but it just started.
Okay.
So they literally just came in. We have a meeting next week to talk about how do we make that connection between the two. But currently, 1. We're expecting up to 30 is what we're expecting. So this is the Bright program, which Dr. Dwyer will talk a little bit more about during his presentation, but it gives you a little bit of a feel for the room. We have a social worker working in this space. It's really meant for children who have experienced school anxiety for a variety of reasons and have not been successful in the learning environment for some time. So rather than going to potentially a day treatment that is not here, we provide that here. So it's one less transition for the student. So if they're coming from a mental health clinic or, again, school anxiety, we can slowly move them back into their education. Another model that has been used across Dutchess County is accessing those services either at Dutchess BOCES or Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES, but just another transition. And it takes the students away from their teachers. In this case, they're here with us, with the social worker, and they are right here with their teachers. So they can, move toward, it's meant to be a short term to move back out into the environment with their teachers. So in the end, we're partnering with 2 different agencies for community engagement. One of them is Westchester Institute for Human Development. We're partnering with 2 agencies. This one, all of the presentations are written by the New York State Education Department. So they are very nuts and bolts of how the regulations work in special education or for the Office of Civil Rights. And they offer a lot of resources. Putnam Independent Living Services has so many offerings, but they are around like family empowerment and support groups. It's their goal is a little bit different than the nuts and bolts. It's really about how do you work together advocating for your child, and we'll provide all of that information out to the public. So in conclusion, inclusion is not a strategy to help people fit into the systems and structures which exist in our societies. It's about transforming those systems and structures to make it better for everyone. And the picture on the right is our unified bocce. So that is, if you ever get a chance to go to any unified game, please do. This was the new one that Mike Carafano has worked with, and this is against Kingston. This is the Kingston game this past week up on the turf. And it was just really exciting. The families were out there playing bocce as well. Obviously the Bulldog was there. It was really a great experience. And that is the end. So I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have like a couple, but maybe I'll just say one at a time.
Okay.
Okay, so for the first one, the Astor teacher
Yep.
at the middle school, how do you guys like decide like what students get to like meet with that person?
So it really is going through their guidance counselors or their school counselors. So if there's a student there's a difference between school-based counseling and outside clinic counseling. There's a difference between the two. And so working with the guidance department to make sure that referral, and there's a paper referral to that person. It would be like going to a clinic in Beacon. It just happens to be inside Rombout.
Does the family have to pay for it?
The families do not pay for it. No, they do not. No.
So like the guidance counselor just gets to choose whether the student needs it or not?
So usually it's a student who's been going to the guidance office a number of times and they've expressed that they need support. That would be a first go-to, but certainly the teachers can go to the guidance office as well and say, I think we have someone in need of support. And then we meet, she's right here, right? She's right in the school with us. So we meet with her and have a conversation about, should this be school-based counseling or should this be what would have been an outside-based counseling?
And how are you guys advertising it to the students? Like, do the students know that that she's there to help them?
Right. We're not there yet because she literally just started, but that's one of the questions. All the teachers know that it's there, but that is one of the questions, like how do families know? Because would it be more beneficial for the student to receive that clinical support in school, or should they go to a clinic on the outside? Which would be better for the student? So we're working on all those processes. Yeah, good question.
And then also, how do you decide like what students get to experience like the co-teaching style?
Yeah, so if you are identified as having a disability, there's a team called a Committee on Special Education that gets together and makes the decision about what level of programming might be the need. Like you might need 2 teachers. But if you, I mean, you may have experienced, this as well. There are many classrooms here where there's 2 teachers. And so you might be a student who has not gone through the Committee on Special Education, but you're also in that classroom with students. So they're larger classes generally with the 2 teachers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So I'm going to piggyback on, those are really good questions,
Yes,
by the
they
way. The person from Astor,
Yeah.
are they funded through Dutchess County or through the district? Is
It's
she?
not, yes, so the majority of it is through Dutchess County, Medicaid or insurance. There's other
Okay.
funding sources for it. There's a very small piece that the Beacon City School District is contracted with.
Okay.
Only because there's some, I'm going to say management pieces that aren't funded through Medicaid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the family have to like fill out
Yes,
paperwork and
there's
stuff
paperwork.
to do it?
Yes, there's, yes, just like you would think of like going to a doctor's office or clinic, yes. Just happens to be inside our building, yeah.
But for families really struggling to find an individual therapist for their child, this is another
This
option.
is the option. So students have to go to a number, if there's a medication management need, they have to go to a number of therapy appointments before receiving that. And students have a lot of things that they're doing, and those appointments sometimes are missed. And so this is a way of making sure the appointments are not missed. The family can come in and do family therapy, and it gives them the connection to psychiatric services if they need it. And all of those pieces we're working out, all those little pieces. Each school district, there are some school districts that only have Astor clinics in their schools. There are some that only have social workers. This is great. We've got the combination of the 2. So you have the school-based counseling and then the outpatient counseling as well. We have to figure out what that line is between the 2, and that's what we're working on now.
Can the families participate in the counseling with their child at the school?
They can. So what we have done is Vanessa's hours are flexible, and so she has the ability to extend beyond the school day, and that's why we have them strategically placed close to the front of the building to make sure there's security there, and so they can do family therapy when students are not typically in the building.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm just thinking here. So how were you able to access, was Beacon, did just ask to access this program? And
I just called them. I just called them and said, we have students in need. I can identify the need. You tell me how many students are attending the clinic. So I went to the clinic and asked, and they said, we have 5. And I said, I know there's more than 5. I have the kids. You've got the clinic. So
Right.
it's been, I mean, it sounds great, but it's been a whole year
Right.
of like really working this out. And now that it's here, working it out with making sure that we understand what everyone's role is in this.
Yeah, because you're right. The hard part is sometimes finding the time for the student and or the family to get to the service. So if it's there at the school, it just makes it
Right.
a a lot easier.
Yeah.
I think it's
We
great.
talked about the location, like we talked about Beacon High School, we talked about Rombout, we talked about the joint campuses. And, I think that the posting went out 9 months ago to really look for somebody that would be a good match. They have supervisors that have to come in and do clinic observations, just like you would, recognize. So now it's just really identifying how do we know what the student is and how do we ensure that school-based counseling and mental health counseling, we're clear what that is between the two. And many children are involved in after-school activities, and a lot of the clinic time for family counseling was happening during that after-school activity. So it either prohibited them from going to their counseling service or prohibited them from being in an extracurricular. So it's just another way of trying to create an inclusive environment. So.
That's great. Anybody else?
I have one more question. This is really interesting presentation and really different from your past year's presentation. And I really love hearing like what people are saying they feel like strengths and weaknesses are of the district. I am missing the numbers. That like in the past years you've always had sort of like how many kids are receiving services and how many classes and teachers and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if you could just email the board.
Sure.
Some,
So the numbers, like how many teachers there are and how many, like that kind of information?
Yeah, just so we have kind of like that picture also instead.
Yeah, I can, yeah.
You can even just, I pulled up your presentation from last year just now, and you could just plug the numbers into
Yeah,
the
you
same.
can. Yeah, so like how many students are at Glenham, how many are JVS?
Yeah.
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
And this Aster service is just for Rombout students, or it's for schools throughout the district?
Rombout for now.
For now,
We're
okay.
starting with Rombout.
Okay.
Really, the question I had too was summer, because our school-based counselors aren't available during the summer. So can this be something that continues through the summer? And it is. And at that point, the district is not paying during that period of time.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Can a student decide whether or not they want to do that? Like meet with the counselor? Because I feel like as a student, like, no offense to adults, but we don't really feel that comfortable talking to adults about our problems and stuff. And like I know we have like resources, but students don't really tend to go to them. So I was wondering, like, is it the student's choice or?
To go to a counselor?
Yeah, well, to the Aster.
Oh, to the Aster counselor. They couldn't just walk in. It would be like walking into a doctor's office. You can't just walk in. So there has to be someone that says, you know what, we think we need to match you up with this person, because there's paperwork your parent has to fill out. Again, and that avenue is through the guidance office in the school. So typically a student, if they're having a difficult time, will go to their guidance counselor and say, I'm having a hard time. And that's where the connection starts, making sure that your parent has the information. And there's other people, there's school psychologists and social workers at Rombout aside from the Aster Clinic too.
So like if the student didn't want to do it, would they still have to do it?
The Aster Clinic?
Yeah.
Well, if your parent signs you up for it, it's like taking you to the doctor, right? Like it's that kind of concept of like, I'm taking you here. What's interesting with the Bright program, which is the high school program, that's the question, where the student is maybe not fully engaging in their therapy and their anxiety is increasing about coming back to school. And that's where we looked at the Bright program to have it all built in, all in one space. Because that's the access to math, English, social studies, science. Yeah.
It's kind of between parents and the student more than the school. We're not offended with what you said either.
No, not at all.
It would be great, though, I think you mentioned this, maybe when we hear from Mr. Soltis, just to hear how that's going, like hear an
Yes.
update in a few months.
Yes,
I know
yeah.
you said hoping to get to 30 kids,
Yes,
and
that's what we're
obviously
hoping.
there's a lot of interest in that program. I think it's great, so
Yeah.
just hearing an update would be helpful.
It's exciting. I don't really have anything to model after because I really just called them. Like that's kind of the way that this worked. I just was trying to create spaces for our children to receive everything that they needed. So we'll see. We'll see. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great presentation. Thank you. So next, we are going to hear from our student representatives. So, Aaron, do you want to start?
Not yet, right? Maybe-
You don't have to. I didn't mean to.
I do have some comments, but I think So I'll just actually start right now.
Okay.
So bringing back from the school resource officers from last month, I did ask a couple students around today what they would have thought about having a school resource officer. They were mostly on the neutral position so they were like, it could be bad, it could be good. It just depends how we introduce the school resource officer to the students of the high school. So yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to your peers about that. That's helpful. Okay, go ahead.
Wait.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so just like Aaron, like I asked my friends about the SRO and what they thought. And, like a lot of them said yes, but that's just like one group of kids. So I think like we should do like a mandatory like survey for everyone to do to decide whether or not we want to do it. And then I was also thinking like maybe before like if we actually want to do it, like introducing them to like maybe us four, maybe like a group of students, like what they do when you hire like a new teacher to see like how they interact with the students, like maybe do that before like actually like having them be in the school, I guess, and actually having one.
You talk like for a teacher, a demo lesson?
Yeah,
kids
like one
are-
of those kind of.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Piper, correct? Welcome.
Thank you. I personally think the resource officer is a pretty good idea, and I did ask a few people, and they were pretty much on board. I think making an interview like committee, like a student one as well, along with the adults, like student representatives, board representatives, student council members, to help like interview and get student insight. Also, I think if or when we end up hiring one, I think an assembly for each grade could be really good to introduce the whole school to the idea and having that person there.
Okay, thanks. And Piper, this is your first meeting, right? Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you wanted to join?
Sure. I'm Piper. I'm a senior here, and I was interested in joining because I'm going to college to be an elementary school teacher. So I think knowing the insight of having, like knowing how the education system works, I think is really beneficial to what I'm doing. And I'm also here to advocate for my school and my peers.
Great. Well, welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, reviewing the agenda. As far as I know, there are no changes. And just to note, we are not having an executive session tonight. So we will go on to Matt, your superintendent's report.
So just a quick update about the SRO conversation. At the October 20th meeting, Anne Marie and John were going to present, not, together, but they were both going to present on their strategic planning for the year and the, action steps they have. Either sort of after that or part of the superintendent report, it doesn't really matter. I wanted to do a short presentation just trying to start to answer the questions that you all had at the last meeting about an SRO. So I thought a good place to start was just to do an overview of what we're currently doing, both with our director of security, our security guards, we use a security consulting firm, Alteris, just kind of explain and let you ask questions like what we're currently doing. Also get a little bit into what we're currently spending on all of that too. And then just, I don't want the presentation to feel like it's me trying to convince anyone of anything, but just sort of at least some of the basic answers to this, that you had at the last meeting. I just need a little bit more time to pull that together than having it ready for today. I'll get into this more at the next meeting. And I understand there was a big question. The biggest question was the why part. And so this isn't addressing that part. But I do think something that in terms of budgetary, how we use our budget, we did we did an overview of how much we spend on security in this current budget year, last year's spending. And it was $1,029,000. That basically covered covered all the salaries of all of our security personnel and our director of security. It also included some very small material stuff and the Alteris consulting.
Does that include like when we hire the police to cover games?
It did. Yep. That is, we do for some of our larger events, especially some of our athletic events, sometimes other events as well. We have Beacon Police come in a formal way. So that cost is between 20 and 30,000. So it's a small percentage of essentially the $1 million we spend. The frame I'm trying to bring to it, obviously the why, like I said, the why is the most important. And I think our student reps have given us some really good things to think about in terms of if we did it, the things we'd need to do. I do think we would really need to think about how we would do it if we did it within that amount we're spending currently. That would just at least be the lens I try to bring to it if we even go down that path. And I'm not saying like we decide at the next meeting. This would obviously be a process that would be pretty involved and take some time. And that's for a couple of reasons. One is I would fully defend every penny we spend on security. I think we do a really good job with security in the district, and I really value what our security staff does. Every single person from Mark to all of our building-based security. Mark Thomas is our director of security to all of our building-based folks. But it's not a small amount. It's an amount that I feel completely comfortable with supporting. But it's an amount that I think if we were to make this change, and that changes down the road, I just want to start kind of disciplining the thinking, at least for me, that it would need to, I think, in my mind, come out of that just simply with all the other budget challenges that we're probably facing this year. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm just kind of telling you some different ways I'm trying to approach it. So at the next meeting, I was just going to kind of go over what we're currently doing and then get into, because the question was asked at the last meeting, why? And so I was simply going to just sort of list out, here are the whys that other districts say, right? So we can all be familiar with the why, and this would be a why that would make sense for Beacon. And then I'm not going to get into like the nitty-gritty budget stuff, but I think it's just good to start thinking about that because that's a part of this too. And and I'm trying not to be like Mr. Gloom and Doom. We just came out of Finance Audit Committee before the meeting. I don't want to be like gloom and doom about the budget all year. That's typically not my style, but I think we are trying to be really realistic going into planning for the 26-27 school year, just what I think some of the challenges may be. So at the next meeting, after they do their presentations, John and Anne Marie, I was going to just kind of go through that. It would be much further down the road if we wanted to do like a joint presentation with the city of Beacon and the police department. That's something much more formal. This would be just kind of an overview of what we're currently doing, what districts who currently have an SRO, like their whys, and then get a little bit into like how we spend money for security in Beacon. Okay? Does that sound like a plan? And then at the October 20th meeting, I thought we don't need to have like a super rigid timeline, but maybe the board can give feedback about like what they want the conversation timeline or the discussion timeline to be.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Knowing we have, November and December, we just have one meeting in November and one in December. So that is something just for us to be thinking about too. So I just wanted to address that. I also will have, I think I'm just going to submit it in writing, just kind of here's where we are with the district board goals and action steps and then metrics, and I'll submit that in writing to you all. We can talk about it a little bit at the 20th or in the November meeting. Either way is fine. And then lastly, I've had a technology glitch in terms of sending out my usual updates. The company's working hard to fix it. But that said, we have our first parenting in the digital age workshop tomorrow night over Zoom because our presenter is in California. But one way or another, we will get the Zoom link out to everybody tomorrow. We're really excited about it. It's at 7 o'clock. Tomorrow's workshop is focused on elementary age parenting or elementary age child raising. And then on the 21st of October, we're doing middle school age. We want to see how these first two go and maybe add one for high school, or she can go, if we want to bring her back, she can go further in depth on topics. We've had a number of families submit questions in advance, so we've sent that off to Julia. Julia Storm is the name of the presenter. But I'm excited about it for a couple of reasons. Just as a parent, this stuff comes at you so fast. So I'm excited about the elementary one because you kind of think you have it all under control when they're 5 or 6, and then it just really comes fast 4th and 5th grade. And I think it's good to start talking about that. And then I think the middle school one is important because it's not too late to make changes at home, or try to make things a little bit better for everybody in your family. So I'm excited about this. We probably at the next board meeting, I'm going to have at least a draft list of all the different parent engagement or family engagement we're going to do this year at each school and district-wide. And we're just super excited about some different things. We're repeating some of the successful ones, but we're trying some new things too. So I should add, I'm pretty good about getting that superintendent weekly update out Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Sunday morning is usually like my last ditch. It's getting out. And this technology glitch didn't let me do it. And I'm not saying that the world is like depending on reading that. In fact, it's pretty much the opposite. But it really just bothered me to no end on Sunday. Send on that thing. And then today, and I'm looking at Mike because Mike Adamczyk's been struggling with me, but I couldn't hit send on it today either, so I'm really going crazy. But that said, we're going to get that Zoom link out one way or another. I'm really excited about it. We also are going to record it for people that can't attend, and we're going to put it on our YouTube page. I think our agreement right now is it'll stay up for a month, so parents can watch that YouTube link at their discretion for a month. But I have had some good conversations with her and watched some of her stuff. I think she brings a really realistic message to parenting, and like she's really good at answering questions, I hope. That's been my experience. So I'm excited about trying something new tomorrow night. And other than that, just a huge thank you. This was in my weekly update. But just a huge thank you to the organizers of the Spirit of Beacon Day Parade, all the community groups that support with booths and food and everything, and all of our families, parents, staff, and students that march in the parade. It's such a great yearly reminder of what an amazing community this is. And as a superintendent, just to see the number of staff and students and families engaged with the parade around our schools is just always a powerful thing to witness. And so I just want to say thanks to all those folks involved. All right, I'm done. Sorry for the long report tonight.
No, I look forward to the double edition of your superintendent's report this weekend. Okay, so moving on to board comments and committee reports. We'll start with you, Catherine.
I'm really excited about the digital situation. I'm pleased to hear that it's not too late for my middle school household to get it together on digital hygiene. I'm also super going to watch the one tomorrow because, I can see what I did wrong.
Yeah, I most likely, as a parent of an 8th grader, I'll probably learn stuff in the elementary one. So I'm all excited.
For all of that. And that's it. And Spirit of Beacon Day did rock.
Yes.
Great.
Semra?
We had our first audit committee meeting today, and we covered what you saw in the packet. And we're going to continue working throughout the year and work on a more robust agenda of what we're going to cover financially for the year. To that end, perhaps we could schedule our next meeting. How about November 10th?
We're going to start doing exec.
Oh, that's right.
Or
Exec will be early. So
Okay.
then,
Summer, I just want to say thank you for being the chair.
Sure.
yeah. And congratulations. Yeah, and I assume 5 would be too early.
I think so.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
So,
Especially for the committee members themselves.
right.
What about another Monday that's not a board meeting? Is
That would
that
be
possible?
Possible for me.
Fine for me.
Could we do the 17th?
Third, I think.
What, 17th?
I may need a couple dates because I
Oh.
have to make sure the internal
Oh.
auditors can come, so if you give me more than one date.
Oh.
just so I'm
Okay.
sure.
So the 17th being first choice?
Okay.
And just like an alternate day, so we can give 2 dates to the internal auditors?
Try
think
18th? Could we try one of those days
18th,
that
I
week?
would,
Okay.
probably not be able to attend.
Do you want to try the 3rd? The 3rd
I
and
think
17th?
3rd would be
Of December?
November.
November. Is that
November.
too soon?
I don't know. That's a good question. I guess it's exactly a month.
Is it too, it's not too soon for the internal
No,
auditors?
they're ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
So we'll offer the 17th
Yeah.
and the 3rd. And what
Okay.
time do we want to do?
6.
6?
Fine with me.
Okay.
6 is great.
I'll reach out to them tomorrow.
Okay.
Thanks. That's all.
Okay. Chris?
Yes, I'm putting these dates in my calendar. I wanted to appreciate a couple folks. I thought like our student board members are really showing up today, so thanks y'all with like really original ideas and sharp questions and bringing even outside perspective in addition to your own. So just thank you. It's awesome to have all 3 of you here. I thought that Heather, the presentation was really great. I like really appreciate how it was tied to the goals that we've been talking about, and so I'll like be excited to see Matt the goals in writing. But that was great. And then I thought also painting a picture of what's going on inside the classroom and how those goals are really being brought to life for kids was really helpful to see. So thank you there. And also appreciate Anne Marie and Donnell and the staff for such a clean audit report. It's very exciting to see. Last thing, I went to our first curriculum, the district curriculum meeting. That was great, a new experience for me. A lot of conversation about Portrait of a Graduate, so I'm glad that that is a conversation that we're continuing. And it was interesting to see folks, like the staff and teachers in the room, wrestle with what that means as it gets more and more concrete. So I think keeping the board up to date about what that means in terms of as the region is phasing out and as other alternative assessments are developed. And so really excited that one of the actions for the district this year is the sort of graduation requirements committee, which is where I imagine a lot of that will come to life. It was also exciting to see teachers and staff think about implementing the new curriculum and assessments and how to even partner with the interventionists and a lot of the academic stuff that we've been talking about over the past year or so. So that was great to be a part of. Thanks for the invitation. And that is it for me.
Okay, thank you. LaVon?
Yes, I just want to say thank you to Heather for your presentation tonight. It was very informative. And I also want to thank the student representatives for their comments and the legwork that they did to come back with some insightful information. And I look forward to what else you guys have to provide.
Eric?
You're welcome.
I was just looking, do we have a facilities, have we scheduled one or no? I can't remember. I can't find it in my calendar. No? We didn't, have we?
We didn't.
Okay, fine.
But
That's fine.
we should have one in November or December.
Okay. I just, I couldn't remember if we had a
We
date.
go ahead and,
Well, I think, is it up to them or probably?
we need to wait to hear from them. Okay.
Okay. That's fine.
We could try to do it. The same night as audit. finance.
Oh,
Maybe?
yes.
No, is that too much?
No, that's great.
That'd be good for me. That'd be good.
I love the
So wait,
double
what were those dates,
dips.
3rd or 17th?
3rd or 17th? Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I just want to say a ditto to what the board members have said. Heather, great presentation. Student reps, thanks for following up on the work, the discussions we had about the SRO. It's good conversations, and I appreciate that. I also wanted to mention, I've seen some things on social media about the principal pages. There was one on Corey, one on Brian. I thought they were excellent, having a student comment and a staff member comment. I think it really summarized, I've only seen those two. I don't know if there's others coming, or is there more?
It's a whole month.
Yes,
it's a whole
principals,
month.
yeah.
Principals get a month.
But and they deserve it. Not that I'm biased at all, but they deserve it. No, but I thought it was really nice, really well done, and I think it really summarized the two of them very nicely with what was said. So, and that's it for me.
Wait, where did you see this? I didn't.
I saw it on
Social media.
Facebook or Instagram. I
Yeah,
saw
see it
it.
on Instagram, yeah.
Gotta check my Instagram today.
Yeah, it was nice, really nice.
Driving traffic. Meredith?
That's it.
Thank you.
Just a reminder that we have our policy meeting for all meeting on the 27th of October. And thank you for the great presentation. And yeah, great to hear from the students. What's the official name? Oops, it's not school board members, it's officials.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't remember what the state calls it, but anyway.
Ex officio
So great to
student
have you.
members.
Yeah, we're never going to call you ex officio.
And I feel like the SRO conversation is going to kind of like weave through every meeting until we get to whatever conclusion we get to. And I appreciate your thoughtfulness, Matt, on sort of building a full picture of it, because I feel like it's one thing to ask someone like, do you want this? And it's another thing to ask someone, do you want this instead of this? Or, you know, that we as a board are really like tasked with making these decisions, not in a vacuum, but like with the entire context. And I feel like the security conversation has been a really good conversation throughout my time on the board. I think we've done a lot on the mental health side and, you know, and on the security side. So I feel like since we have such a new board and new parents and everything, it's great to have that complete picture told somewhere where you can say like, here it is. You can watch this board meeting and you can learn about it here. I'm sure I'll learn something there too. So that's all for me.
Yeah, those are very good points. So I also wanted to say thank you to everybody who came out for Spirited Beacon and everybody who made it possible. I do feel like it's sort of a good reset for me personally every year, where it's like you're just dropped right in the middle of your community and you're sort of out and you're seeing everyone, and it's also so kid focused, and I really love that. So I just appreciate sort of starting the year that way, the school year that way every year. So that was great. I also wanted to remind everyone that we are having our board retreat on Tuesday, October 14th. That's next Tuesday, starting at 7. Are we going to do that in this room, Matt? Okay, so we'll be here. And yes, echoing everybody else.
Did we start it at 6? Is it
I think there were some conflicts.
Okay.
I think 7 to 8.
And so 7 was the original, yeah.
I think that was, yeah.
I also wanted to say thank you to the ex officio team. You guys, and I feel like I relearn this every time we have students on the board, but you guys always are plugged in ways we never could be, and you see things in a way that we couldn't see it. So I really appreciate and encourage you to like keep talking and keep bringing your ideas, because we need them. So we appreciate you. And to Heather, thank you so much for your presentation. It feels so much like often when you're talking about all this stuff, it never stops impressing me how you're dealing with so many different fronts and so many different initiatives and opportunities for students, and you're sort of making it all come together in the classroom, and I enjoy seeing that. Like I can see the difference in the classrooms, and I appreciate that. And that's it from me. So We can, since we're not having an exec, we will just go on to the consent agenda to finish out the meeting. The use of the consent agenda permits the Board of Education to make more effective use of its time by adopting a single motion to cover those relatively routine matters which are included. Any member of the board who wishes to discuss individually a particular piece of business on the consent agenda may so indicate, and that item will be considered and voted on separately, thus preserving the right of all board members to be heard on any issue. Are there any items that any board members would like to have removed from the consent agenda?
I have one, 12.03C2.
Okay, 12.03C2. Any others? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve 11.01 through 15.05 minus 12.03C2?
So moved.
Levon, second.
Second.
Meredith, comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 7-0. Okay, can I have a motion to approve 12.03C2?
So moved.
Levon, second.
Second.
Second by Semra. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
One abstention. Passes 6-0. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved. Oh,
Second by Meredith. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 7-0. Good night.